Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the African Fighters. The African Fighters is a platform where we put a microscope on African fighters in combat sports, in MMA and other disciplines as well. And today we have a very, very important guest who is our biggest guest that we've ever had so far in a middleweight contender in the UFC from South Africa, Pretoria to be exact, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the person is Dricus Du Plessis. Dricus, my brother, welcome to the show.
Hi, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Well, we agreed to do this. We asked you for this, and you said you would prefer to do when you travel to Vegas, right?
Yeah.
To the United States. And Yeah. All right. So how has the journey been so far? How was the trip?
It's been amazing. We got here on we flew in on Wednesday and we arrived in Vegas on Thursday evening. We got a session in as soon as we landed. Travel was long, but no direct flights with the COVID, so we had to fly quite a long flight. I think it was a 36-hour flight, but that wasn't great. But
oh, wow.
yeah. Well, now we're here. We've been here for 4 days now, and it's amazing. Feeling great.
So how has fight camp been so far? Is everything going as planned?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, fight camp was probably one of the best I've ever had. I feel in the best shape that I've ever been. Fitness great. I'm coming in. I got a big shot early in fight camp. Little cut, nothing serious. But that was first week of camp. But the whole 8 weeks went perfect. Everything's great. I'm coming in here with very little to no niggles, no injuries. So yeah, I mean, feeling great. I mean, fight camp is basically done for me now. Now it's just cutting the weight. I mean, we're doing sessions every day, 2 sessions, but just power up sessions. Nothing serious. Fight camp's been amazing. So yeah, all the hard work is done.
All right, wow. So we do know that your debut in the UFC against Markus Perez was a bit of an awkward one because it was in the middle of the pandemic, right? In fight camp.
Yeah.
It was your debut, and I'm pretty sure I would say maybe there was a bit of nerves going in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's always nerves going into a fight,
all right.
Especially making your UFC debut on a 2 weeks notice.
Oh, wow.
And not being able to train. Yeah, I mean, I got the call 2 weeks before the fight to say, listen, will you take the fight? And I mean, having to make weight, the gyms weren't open at the time. Well, I mean, it just opened. There was a 2-month period where no gyms were open. There was no training happening. At least I trained at home. So, I mean, I wasn't as prepared as I would like to be for that debut. But I mean, there wasn't any more nerves than there ever is. It's every fight I have nerves every single fight, and yeah, I mean it was just was a big opportunity, and I made it count. I mean, yeah, there was no crowd and stuff, but it was a great experience.
Yeah, this one would be a packed arena, which would arguably be the biggest fight card of the biggest pay-per-view of the year. Well, it's
absolutely
yeah, it's a Conor McGregor pay-per-view. So yeah, so how about the nerves going into this one against Trevin Giles?
Yeah, I mean the nerves is it's I'm definitely more comfortable than the previous one, a lot less because it wasn't a short notice fight. I'm prepared. I know the fight before this one, the debut. I mean, I didn't know will my gas tank be able to go 3 rounds. It would be, but how hard can I go? Did I prepare? Didn't prepare for the opponent specifically. There's a lot of variables because of the lockdown and everything that happened and short notice. But I mean, that's what makes the fighter. With this camp, we had a proper camp, 8 weeks preparation for a specific opponent. Fighting on the big card, that's just excitement. There's no nerves fighting in front of people. People just make me excited. It's not that I get more nervous when I fight in front of the crowd. Crowd actually just makes me perform better. So I can't wait for that.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So, well, we already know the type of fighter you are. You don't really like taking your fight to this. You don't really like the scorecards being called by the judges. So, how, without giving out your game plan, I would say, what should we expect? How is this fight gonna end?
Well, I mean, I don't go in there with a specific end in mind. I go in there and see what I can get. I get in there, I try to knock you out every single chance I get. Try not to get knocked out. Try, try to win every round. You need to win every second. You win every minute. Every minute, you have to win every second. So when I go out there, I don't go out there and say, listen, I'm not just looking for a finish. I'm looking for a win. I mean, if the win comes by decision, it doesn't bother me. I'm there to win, but I'm also going in there with the tenacity and with the pace that I always do, and that's why I believe I have so many finishes. Not a lot of people can keep up with that. So I mean, I'm going out there to push the pace, testing wherever he needs to be tested, testing on the feet, testing on the ground, in the clinch, to see where I can get the most leeway, see where I have the biggest advantage, and hopefully keep the fight there and finish this fight in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, well, we do know that if people don't know, well, this fight has supposed to happen a long time ago. A few things here and there stopped it from happening. So I would say you've already studied. You've had enough time to study Trevin Giles, to say. So what do you think are his strengths and in fighting?
Yeah, the fight was supposed to happen not that long ago, just the 10th of March. We were supposed to fight, and because of the COVID stuff, the visa couldn't be approved because the embassies were closed, so there's just no way for me to get a visa to come and fight. So so they rescheduled the fight, which is great. So I already was prepping for him before that fight, and then just had a longer prep time. He got another win, so that makes things great for me. And I think his strength is he's a durable guy. He's a durable fighter. He knows how to win. He's gotten a few wins where he's just edged the decision, and he does what he needs to win. And he's always game to fight. His strength, he has good hand speed, he has a good jab. Obviously, everybody knows he has a good jab. He has punch power. I do believe he's all around. He's pretty all around, but I do believe there's quite a lot of holes in his all around game. Both of his losses coming by way of submission. So I mean, that's something he would have been working on. But yeah, I would say his biggest strengths are he's pretty good hand speed. He has knockout power, and quite a durable guy.
All right, so we got into a bit of controversy for well, by our own opinion, we believe with all the titles you've won in MMA in top promotions around the world, we believe you are probably the most decorated African fighter out of Africa, I should say. So cheers to that. How do you think? Obviously, your goal would be to be the UFC champion someday. Absolutely. So how do you think your path to being the champion is going to be? How do you see that going? Obviously, without putting down the fight in front of you this week. So how do you think it's going to go?
Yeah, well, I think the big thing here is to take it fight by fight, making sure I get through this first contract and taking fights, finding my feet in the UFC octagon. It's I want to spend this first year just getting it home. I mean, I'm fighting a top 25 guy now. I think Trevin is ranked number 22, and then from next year start fighting top 20. And in 2 years' time, I want to have that belt around my waist. That's the plan.
Yeah, and probably headline UFC Africa in South Africa, right?
That'll be amazing.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about something. We made a video about you, 5 facts about you. And after we put that video out, we saw an interview where you were talking about your family and some mistakes that were on the internet that we probably fell for. We said that you had a wife and a daughter, and we even we even put a picture there. So after we saw that interview, we quickly deleted that part.
Thank you.
So could you just clear the air? Are you married? Do you have a wife? Do you have a daughter? Just clear the air. So for those who don't know.
I don't have any children. I've never been married. No, I'm single. I don't have a girlfriend. I'm not married. I don't have children. I don't know where that article comes from, but
well, we fell for
the
it.
internet.
Yeah, but actually we saw something pretty interesting with another young upcoming bantamweight fighter whom you're training, Cameron, right? Yeah. What should people expect from Cameron?
I mean, Cameron is the future of the sport. He's a phenomenal athlete. He's going to be in the UFC not long from now. He's still so young. He's 20 years old. He's 3-0 as a pro. I mean, he would have been 6-0, I would believe, if it wasn't for the pandemic. He's just like a sponge. He's a brilliant fighter, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for him. He's been training with me since he was 14. I coached him, and now he trains alongside me. He's a brilliant athlete, and yeah, I think the sky's the limit for this guy. I mean, being a UFC champion is definitely in his midst, and yeah, he's going to take South African MMA even to another level. He's brilliant.
Yeah, you guys should watch out for Cameron. You could check him. We'll put his YouTube channel link on our description. You could go check him out. Fantastic kid.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So lastly, we're going to talk about UFC Africa real quick, because well, that's the ultimate goal for us, because we've been a platform trying to push African fighters out there from South Africa up to the north, to the Arabs, to the west and the east, all of that. We've had a couple of debates, me and my co-host and other guests we have on, about where UFC Africa should hold, and we believe that all the pieces have been placed for it to happen in South Africa, with UFC network contract with Super Sport down there in South Africa, and also the venues and how MMA smart the community back home is in South Africa. So well, where do you think, because Dana White said 2022 UFC Africa is coming, and I'm pretty sure you would probably be in the main card. So yeah, so where do you think is going to happen in South Africa? Was it in Durban?
Well, I mean, I can say in Durban, no. I think Cape Town makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
I believe Cape Town, a stadium. UFC wants big events. You just don't have big arenas, but we have massive stadiums. Cape Town will be amazing. It's a beautiful place. But obviously, I'm hoping for Pretoria. I'm hoping for Times Square, Square Casino. Yeah. That is probably one of the biggest arenas we have right now. It's a 10,000 seater, which is awesome, especially for an event in Africa. You know, if you take in account that you want to do a stadium, you're not going to be able to sell 50,000 tickets, I don't believe, on your first event, because of I just don't think people are on 50,000 people are going to be able to go to that event. I honestly don't think we are there yet. But if you have 10,000 seater, which we do have, a proper arena, Times Square Casino is an amazing arena with 10,000 people in Pretoria. I mean, I think that's a complete sellout for 10,000 people. And Pretoria, it's quite central. It's if you have Cape Town, you only have Cape Town to go to. If you have Pretoria, you're closer to. It's much more central than Cape Town would be, I believe. So I mean, we'll see. I think Cape Town is most probably going to happen.
Yeah.
If you ask me, but I mean, Pretoria will be a win for me.
Yeah, but sorry to talk over you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No worries.
All right. So I think so. Would it be a pay-per-view or a fight night?
No, it'll definitely be a fight night. They won't do a pay-per-view, I believe. Okay. Depending on who they get to fight.
Oh yeah.
Depending on what's happening, that's another thing. It makes you think about a lot of things. If you do UFC Africa, they might want to go their first event in Africa and make it a massive pay-per-view. But we'll have to see. I think maybe a massive pay-per-view if they get Francis Ngannou on the card, they get Kamaru Usman on that card, because all those guys I want to be on that card. Myself, Don, Kamaru Usman, all those guys. I mean, that's a massive card. So it might be a massive pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It should be.
It should be, yeah. I'm about to end this interview, but I just remembered one question I always wanted to ask you, which is if you would fight for the middleweight title, as you're currently in the middleweight, speaking about middleweight, would you want to move up or would you want to stay there?
No, I'm a middleweight. I used to fight at welterweight. I'll never make that fight again. I'm fighting at middleweight. And eventually, I want to get the belt here at middleweight. And eventually, I mean, if there's a short notice fight at light heavyweight, I have no problem going up. But I've always set my sights set on fighting for both titles, like I did in the EFC. And I'll definitely go up one day. But for now, my focus on middleweight and becoming a champion in the middleweight division.
Yeah. So I haven't really asked the question I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask you, who would you want to fight for the title? Or doesn't mind? It doesn't mind.
Whoever has the belt. That's who I want to fight.
All right. So, okay. So I guess we should wrap this up because you have a lot in your plate. Oh, can I ask one more? I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry because I keep on remembering them.
Sure thing.
Yeah. Speaking of African MMA, EFC doing a fantastic job when it comes to the production. It's really up there with the UFC and everything. And also the quality of the fighters coming up, the how high level their martial arts skills is very, very impressive. Who should we look out for from the EFC coming into to the UFC? Because a lot of people watching might not know enough about the EFC. So who do you think we should watch out for? Or
yeah, I think a guy like Igor Cabeza is a guy he just had a loss. Unfortunate loss. I mean, you get caught, that happens, but he's a brilliant fighter, and he's somebody that can compete on the international stage if he gets the right people behind him, or a right team, his management. You know, if he takes care of everything, he has all the makings of a UFC fighter. He's brilliant. I think there's so many talented guys in South Africa that and Africa in the EFC that definitely has potential to go. I mean, there's Cameron Saaiman. I have no doubt in my mind that he has what it takes in a year or two to be able to compete with the best in the world. So then, I mean, there's a lot of guys. You have, like I said, Igor Cabeza, you have Cameron, you have guys, Nerik Simas, he's had a few losses, but I mean, you can see in the way he fights, he's beaten Paris Jacobs. He's a brilliant fighter. He's absolutely brilliant. And, you know, I think the gap is closing. Every single event, you can see it. You can see the gap closing. You can see the people getting closer to being able to compete internationally. The sport is so young in South Africa, but just how fast we picked it up. I mean, EFC has only been around for 12 years, and here I am, you know, fighting in the UFC. The UFC has been around for more than 30 years, so it's great. And I think we're going to see a whole lot of more fighters rising from Africa, and a whole lot more.
All right. Well, I guess I have to let you go now. Thank you so much.
And another guy is a guy named Mark Perez. He is fighting EFC. He's contracted with ACA now.
Oh.
He's also a training partner of mine. He fights in Russia. He's just a beast of a fighter. I honestly believe he's going to be in the UFC one day soon, as long.
All right. Thank you so much, champ. We really, really appreciate you agreeing to do this, knowing how busy your schedule is and all that. And we really wish you all the best in the fight. We would be watching. We'll be watching very closely, and we'll be also watching your career too, and trying to put everything out there. Well, thank you so much again for agreeing to do this.
Perfect, man. No problem. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks so much.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.